at Charlotte Motor Speedway, Rick Hendrick of Hendrick Motorsports. Mr. H, before we get into questions from the media and while you're here on behalf of the 5 cars win today, if you could briefly touch on what it means to have all 4 of your cars advance to the round of 8 and still be in contention for a championship this year.
Well, you always talk about trying to get them in the round of 8, and we had our big kickoff, and that was our goal. But it's so hard to do in this sport, as you saw people today above and below and having problems. And I feel real good about advancing to the final 8 because the next 3 racetracks are really good for us. And so we just got to show up and do our job. But we were very fortunate today, and Kyle just had set a blistering pace, and nice to get the win and get everybody locked in to the next round.
Well said. Well, we'll begin opening it up for questions. We'll begin with Dustin Long up here in the front. We'll go right here.
Dustin Long of NBC Sports. Rick, in your illustrious career, there's so many things that you've done, but I think about just in the last couple of years, there's things that you hadn't done until recently. The Indy 500, the Garage 56 experience, and now this, we're putting all 4 cars into the round of 8. And I'm just curious, for when you have accomplished so much over your career to still do new things, what does that mean, and how does that, I don't know if that continues to fuel and drive you in some way?
Yeah, to be able to do things that if you're a racer and a car guy, to be able to win championships and then win over 300 races. And then Garage 56 was so much fun for us, and so much pride being over there and seeing that car. And then Indy, and now we're going back to Indy. And I've had some things on a bucket list for me, and 1010, the track that we announced this week, it does fuel me. I mean, the competition, the desire to see our people have new opportunities, and just the fierce competition that's in the sport. And I guess that if you set out every year and you want to get better and better, and our teams have been better together, and to see them sharing and working so close, and I feel, Bill France told me something one time. He said, your mind will take you places your body won't go. And I'm getting there because I've got a lot of things I want to do and I love to do. But, it's just, I'm living the dream. I mean, I grew up wanting to race and be in the automobile business, and I've got to be able to do those things. And this morning to accept that award for Harry Hyde, who really, got us started, put us on the map. So no, I think seeing all of our people in Victory Lane, my grandson loves it, and no, it's just been. Linda and I get just as excited as we did 40 years ago.
And also to have not won the championship the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And I don't think you guys have gone more than 3 years without a championship in the last 15, 20 years.
Yeah.
What was the focus or drive going into this season after having the last 2 years not winning a championship and to be this close a month out?
Nothing it fuels you more than get to that final race and not being able to close the deal. You go to the off season thinking about you got 2 cars there, and you didn't get to close the deal. So every race this year, the crew chiefs are talking about Phoenix, and they're talking about wanting to get back and kind of have another shot. And it's going to be a battle because whoever is going to be there in that Final Four is going to be the best out here. And so you're going to have to race them. But you got to get there. But not getting the deal done, winning it back-to-back and then going 2 years and having cars out there, just not being able to close the deal. So that has been something that we talked about off-season, early in the season, And I hear our guys now talking about Phoenix, not trying to get ahead of where we are, but knowing if we get there, we've got we want to finish the job.
Bruce Martin with Forbes Sports Money. How much do you now push the team to get all 4 into the championship 4?
I don't think you can push them. I mean, they push themselves, and it's you got to show up and do the best you can. You're going to have problems. You're going to have a pit stop. You're going to have things that happen out of your control, restarts. You can't control all of that. As the field gets down to 8, you've got a good shot at getting someone, hopefully more than one, in the Final 4. Right now, I think we're running good enough to get. I won't say we are going to be lucky enough, or even we get to all 4 of them in the Final 4. That would be an ideal thing, if we could do that. But as long as we can show up and be good every week, and hopefully have better luck than bad luck, then that's our job.
On Memorial Day Sunday, you left the Indianapolis Motor Speedway disappointed with the way things worked out. Got here, didn't get a chance to even get in the car. Kyle goes back to Indy the very next race, wins the Brickyard 400, comes back here the very next race after the 600 at this track, wins today. So I think there's a bit of a trend there. What do you think of that?
I like your trend. I hope it continues. I think the magic between Cliff and Kyle is amazing, and I think our crew chief driver combination is really good, and I think the sharing. I've never seen in my 40 years the crew chiefs as selfless. Is that right? Selfless? Yeah. So they share and give each other information, and they work together, debrief coming home from the race, and that's what makes them. Listen, when you get everybody working together, you get a 4-horse team pulling together. It's hard to beat that, and if you can keep that communication going and the drivers and crew chiefs working, they get smarter and better, and that's all I ask of them. Share, communicate, and execute.
All right, before we continue, obviously, as you see, we have now the winning crew chief of today's race, Cliff Daniels. We'll keep going with Jordan Bianchi.
Jordan Bianchi, the Athletic. 2 questions, one for each of you. Rick, we've seen a lot of Alex Bowman running up front, winning stages, and just being very consistent in top 5, top 10. What have you guys seen in the difference between out of the 48 team, this playoff?
I think if you look back at Alex getting hurt and breaking his back, and then he has a new, and they were new together, the crew chief, and Blake and Alex have gelled. Alex is healthy. He's confident. I mean, you can't drive one of these cars hurt. I mean, you can, but, it takes 100% every lap. And when Chase broke his leg and he got back in the car, it took him a while to get the rhythm going. You don't get hurt and get back and be as strong as these guys that have been in every week. So I think Alex just having an opportunity to be healed up, feeling good, he and Blake are clicking, and I think that's been the secret there. I mean, I wish he hadn't gotten hurt. I think we'd be way ahead, but now they're in a stride, and he's doing a heck of a job. Every racetrack, he's doing a good job.
And then, Cliff, you look ahead to next round. You got yourself, you've got Christopher Bell, Denny Hamlin, Byron, throw Blaney in that mix, even Chase. It seems like it's going to be a slugfest. Really the 7 or 8 best teams throughout the course of the year. Your preview, if you would, for round 3 and what it's going to be like, because all of you, that grouping really runs extremely well in all 3 of the tracks.
Yeah, they do, and a very strong amount of respect for all the teams that are going to be in the round of 8. Everybody has certainly earned their way to get there. I think our number one competitor is ourselves, and I think if we do the things that we need to do, our team can execute. Kyle's been doing an amazing job, the pit crew, everybody that shops. So, yes, to your point, the competition is going to be there, and I think our mission is going to be probably to be as tunnel visioned as humanly possible to stay on our path and execute the things that we need to. For whatever reason, the opening race of each round this playoffs hasn't been very kind to us, and we, want to go to Vegas with a lot of confidence just in our recent run there. But we're going to have a healthy amount of respect for that race and really for all of them. Yes, we look forward to them. Yes, we think we have a good opportunity ahead of us, but it's going to take the little details to get it right and make sure we're where we need to be.
All right, I believe we have some questions from the press box.
Chris Nycattrons.com. Hey, this question is for Rick Hendrick. Rick, I was just curious to follow up on Jordan's question. This is Alex Bowman's second appearance in the round of 8. But first, with Ally, I was just wondering how important it is for him to be in the round of 8 and with Ally support.
Well, Ally's a really good partner, and we want to see them do well as all of our sponsors. But, again, like I said before, I think Alex is healthy. Ally's been with us for years now. They take the whole car. We're good partners in the business world, in the automobile industry. So you want to take care of all your partners, and they've been a great one. And I'm just glad to see Alex in a position where he can show his talent, and he's healthy, and he's the crew chief of gelling. And so I'm happy for the team and for our sponsor.
Hi, Jenna Fryer with the Associated Press. I was out there the other day, and you guys had a HAG leadership group where Cliff and Kyle and Jeff spoke about communication and how important it is in making that work. And I wanted both Cliff and Rick to discuss why the communication has been so successful from the very beginning with Kyle and the 5 team.
Yeah, I mean, great question, and I think to me, when I look at it holistically, it started, 6 or 8 years ago now when Mr. Hendrick, really demanded that we move from 2 different shops of 2 teams in each shop to putting all 4 teams together, and once you kind of get through the human nature, competitive spirit of that, and what it meant to really share and communicate across the 4 teams, and really understand that everyone was bought into knowing on principle that the 4 of us, banded together and working together, we're all going to be so much better that way. So I will say that the 5 is always the beneficiary of that system of the 4 of our teams working together so well. I would like to think the other 3 are as well, and that starts with, Mr. Hendrick encouraging us and pushing us to go that direction. And then for us, just like any relationship, it always evolves. And I've been very thankful for the opportunity to be with Kyle, to be in this position with the 5 team. And, there's so many core values that we hold true to our team of taking care of each other, having the relationship, having the communication really across the team. And of course, it has to be, with me and Kyle on race day as well, and trusting in each other to do our jobs in the moment and to make calls and to know that we're going to have to ride some ups and downs together. But without a lot of those things that, kind of got us to this point of building the company, building our team the way that it is, we've certainly been surrounded with a lot of great leadership along the way, folks that have mentored me. Of course, Mr. Hendrick at the helm, mentoring really everybody along the way. All that presents a really good formula for the 4 teams to have success. And if we're being honest, having 4 out of the round of 8, 4 teams in the round of 8 doesn't happen by accident. That's from, a lot of hard work, a lot of grit, a lot of communication, a lot of chemistry, led by Mr. Hendrick for all 4 teams to have. So very, very thankful to be part of it.
All right, we got a question from Bob, then we'll go to DeAndre, and then Matt Weaver.
Bob Packris, Fox Sports. Did either of you see any extra, I don't want to say motivation, but extra from Kyle because he didn't race here in May?
Maybe a little.
Yeah, I think he's I don't say it's a chip. I'd say the fact that he didn't get to race here and the race in Indy didn't turn out too well, that he had extra motivation. But I think, too, as Cliff has said, and I think we said earlier, when you've been to that Final Four and you came up short and you got the off season to think about it, you want to dig hard And I think that's why our teams come out early and run so good early, and then we might take a little bit of a dip in the summer because we load so hard early on. And we talked a minute ago about communication. I had our general managers in, and these guys talked to them. But we want to call audibles immediately, constant communication, constantly getting better. I want to get them on the plane together, coming home after a race, so the drivers and crew chiefs can debrief when it's on their mind. And then the very next morning, and we don't have any disagreement in our camp. We don't have any infighting with crew chiefs or drivers in our camp. I'm not going to tolerate that. I see that out there sometimes. But we're stronger together. We've proven it over 40 years, and that's what's made us strong. And I don't have to worry about that with these guys. Sometimes we have a little scuff up at the racetrack, but we get over it pretty quick.
Yeah, and Bob, to answer your question for Kyle, I think just in some of the comments he made after, the Indy Charlotte experience, I think he did put a lot of weight on his shoulders, almost feeling like he had let down, his team and his fan base, which I don't necessarily think was fair for him to put that on his shoulders, but I know that he did. And he's put in the work, and he's had the intensity and the determination to be as strong as ever right now. So props to him.
All right, we'll go to DeAndre up here next.
Dr. DeAndre, buildingspeed.org. 2 questions for Cliff. The first one is, we know that Kyle is not big on the simulator. Did you have to twist his arm to get him to do the simulator for this race? And if so, how did you do it?
So this was a complete opposite experience from anything we've ever had in a simulator. He was very determined to go in, and he wanted to learn the new track layout, wanted to get reps and find a rhythm. And knowing that sometimes he gets in there and he gets frustrated, I really didn't want him frustrated at himself coming into the weekend. So as we're in the simulator, and of course it goes that way at the beginning, he starts getting really mad at himself, and I keep screwing up and restart it. And I'm like, hey man, if we're good, like we can just leave, it's okay. Let's go over to the racetrack today. We can walk the track. We can talk about it. Nope, I'm staying in. So in this case, I was the one trying to get him out of it, and he was the one who wanted to stay in. And what he wanted to get to with his, rhythm, with his muscle memory, was finding the cadence of hitting each corner, understanding the sim a little bit more. I don't know that would apply to every racetrack, and this racetrack is certainly unique, but he came in with a mission that day to the sim, and certainly it paid off. So proud of him.
And my second question to you is, when you have such a dominant car and you've got such a lead, is it difficult for you on the pit box to stay engaged with the race? I mean, is your mind already starting to go towards Las Vegas and beyond?
Zero. The whole race, we were, especially at the end of the race, knowing that with a big lead, there's inherently some punishment on your tires at that point. And if a caution comes out with 20 to go, 15, 10, 5, what does each one of those pit calls look like? And in that situation, they were all going to look different. So we had a lot of communication going on within our engineering core and all the guys around the pit box on the 5 of what we were going to do in that case. And then I was even more curious as to what our teammates were going to do. We had the 24 and 3rd. I think we had the 9 and 5th, and the 48 was 16th or so. I was kind of curious to get their temperature as well. So back to Mr. Hendrick's point, the 4 crew chiefs, we all just kind of had some open conversation about, hey, man, caution comes out now. What's everybody thinking? What are we going to do? So we could never get to a point of being comfortable. And one thing I will say, in 2021, we were going to win our 4th race in a row at Pocono. Took the white flag. Most people think when you take the white flag, the race is over. Blew a tire going into turn 3. Didn't win our 4th race in a row. So even when we take the white, no, I'm not comfortable.
All right, we'll go to Matt Weaver here next, and then we'll go to Zach up front.
Matt Weaver, Sports Not. One for Mr. H and then one for Mr. H and Cliff. We talked about the opportunity, the potential of having, all 4 make it to the Final 4. And I'm curious, is there even a part of you that even allows yourself to think about that and how cool that would be for your team and organization?
I think about it, and I'd love to see it happen. I don't want to be greedy, but that's the plan. you know. But you just know along the way you've just got to execute every week. But you know, to having all 4 in the final 8, then that's the goal. That was the goal. We accomplished it. So now we just got to go out, win races in advance, and do the best we can. And you know, I don't let myself think about the last race. I'm thinking about the next 3 races right now.
And then for both of you guys, we in the industry and media, we made a lot of the course changes, turn 7, the front stretch chicane, and it seemed those were still hot spots, but it seemed like this was a more procedural race than I thought a lot of us thought it would be. What did you guys think of the configuration and layout?
I like it.
Make that 2.
All right, we'll go to Zach up here.
Zach Sterniolo, NASCAR.com. Cliff, for you, obviously you guys aren't putting the cart before the horse, but as you look ahead, how much effort is placed on Phoenix, understanding that Chevrolet went without leading a lap that day. I think you guys were around top 15, but I know what the goal is for you guys there. How far do you push the preparation for that, understanding that there's still 3 weeks before there?
Phoenix for Hendrick Motorsports started the day after Phoenix a year ago, and I would say probably the same for Chevrolet as well. Very thankful to have such a core group and depth at the shop and with our partner at Chevrolet that it hurt last year to get beat for the championship. Obviously the one car won the race, but Chevrolet and Hendrick Motorsports, we lost out for the championship. So the day after that race, we started coming up with plans, and those have continued to build. Specifically for us, we know that this week we're going to prepare really hard on the race ahead of us and for the next 3 weeks ahead. But we've certainly been engaged in some of the conversations leading up to Phoenix prep, Phoenix car, details and setup details, strategy, all the things that have been, like I said, a year long in the making.
All right, before we continue, obviously we now have the winning driver of today's Bank of America Roval 400, Kyle Larson, now with us. We'll go right into questions. We'll begin up here at camera and then keep going.
Cameron Richardson, NASCAR.com. Cliff, my question's for you. I'm just curious, with the mesh of minds between you, Alan, Blake, and Rudy, just that camaraderie you guys kind of have when you're in team meetings and maybe when you guys talk in the garage before the race, and then kind of just how fun the competition will be between you guys now that all 4 of you will be competing against each other in the round of 8.
Yeah, it's really special to get all 4 of us through, and honestly, I don't think anything is going to change with us. I think the way our communication is, the way the competition meetings are, the way we all understand what's in each other's car and go through, strategy conversations and race prep conversations, I don't see any of that changing. There's just no need for it. We're so deep into the process. We're very much a process company and a process team that we're so deep into the process of how we debrief, how we communicate, how we plan and strategize, that we know that's kind of the bread and butter of what got us here. So what's fun with the group that we have is everyone has a little different perspective and a little different personality, where you just bring different ideas to the table, and that's so healthy and that's so beneficial for the 4 of us to dig into and take advantage of. And no, all of our cars aren't always the exact same, but a lot of our general philosophies are, and a lot of the way that we lead the company and build the cars overall is very, very similar. And then, yeah, each team is going to tune a little bit to their own. So I just don't see anything of that changing. And if anything, it's probably going to get stronger, because when we look at what we have within our company, knowing that the opportunity is sitting on the table for 4 of us to go to Phoenix, I guess, let me correct myself. If it changes, we're probably going to get stronger together than to compete with one another, if that makes sense.
Okay, well, Mr. H. Cliff, thank you for coming in. Appreciate your time, and congrats on the win to you, too. We'll